Welcome to State of Affairs. I'm Steve Adubato. We're coming to you from the Agnes Varus NJTV studio in beautiful Brick City. That's Newark, New Jersey. We are honored to be joined by the Speaker of the Assembly, Craig Coughlin, who represents the 19th District. Actually, you represent the entire state. Good to see you,
Well, thank you, Steve. It's a pleasure to be here. First and foremost, I represent the 19th District.
Absolutely. Let me ask you this. We're doing this program after the governor's budget address. We'll be seen after. What do you like? What don't you like about it?
Well, look, I think there's a number of things in the governor's budget that jump off the page that are really the product of a lot of good hard work on his part. There's about $1.6 billion in savings from all different sources, through Medicare savings and through Medicaid savings, I should say, through departmental savings and through work that he has done to reduce health care costs.
Let's be clear. You're talking about the governor's negotiations with the Communication Workers of America, a major public employee.
Well, those and others, apparently. I haven't seen
on healthcare costs of public employees, state employees.
Correct. But
real savings.
Real savings.
Some say, oh, come on, it's a drop in the bucket. You say?
I say $1 billion is real money. And that those are going to be the savings that we can hopefully carry forward throughout the future. It reduces the starting point. Medical benefits cost is a constant challenge, right? Year in and year out, everyone who pays for their own understands that. Everyone who runs a business understands that. It's a constant challenge each and every year to try and reduce the cost. So this is something that I think, when you ask me what I like, that's one of the things I like.
You like the New Jersey Transit investment?
Well, look, I think
more state money to the New Jersey Transit budget.
I do, and last year we relied on a diversion from a couple of sources. This is in there as its own way. I think we should look at whether we want to add some more money to that, but that we're going to have to work through the budget as we get going. It was presented last Tuesday, so it's less than a week
as we do
ago.
This program, absolutely.
Right. Sorry to date that on you.
No. We actually put the date up. Yeah. We always disclose. It's all right.
But so the budget committee is just going through that process. This process will take months. There'll be public hearings, departmental hearings with the budget committees. Things will inevitably change as they did last year. Last year, if you recall, we got two decisions that were positive, had a positive impact. One by the Supreme Court, which allowed us to have sports gambling, and another by the Supreme Court, which allowed us to collect online taxes. Now, I don't know what this year will bring. Hopefully, it'll bring positive news. Although I'm not aware of any cases like that.
Let me ask you, Mr. Speaker, the tone and tenor of the conversation, the negotiations, which haven't really begun in earnest, between you, Governor Murphy, and the Senate President Steve Sweeney, how do they feel different already, even though we don't know, as we do this program, how things are going to play out?
Well, I think that because we are in a much better starting place than we were last year.
What does that mean?
Well, it means that the legislature's position last year was we didn't want to raise taxes, and there were two kinds of taxes. There were sales tax and income tax and thing. So I'm been insistent that we don't include increases in broad-based taxes like income and sales. There's no sales tax in this proposal. A number of the things that we wanted to include as legislative asks in our business, they're called, some of which were programmatic, are now included in the governor's budget. For example, things like homestead rebate, things like increased funding for charity care, things like low-income housing and inclusion
for
the art. Yeah, they're in the budget. And that's why when we say we're at a much better starting point, and the tenor is much better. And of course, there's the savings that the governor was able to achieve. Now,
let's talk about the other side of it.
Yeah, the other side of it is...
Put the millionaires tax on the table. The governor said, look, last year, I went to the $5 million figure. That's what happened. If you earn more than $5 million, we want you to pay more income tax. This year, $1 million. You earn more than that, you should pay your fair share as he sees it. Talks about a fair tax, you say?
Well, I say that this is something, as I said from the outset, I've been insistent that we not include increases in broad-based taxes like the income tax. I think the first thing we always have to do, and I think it's something that's true of every family in New Jersey, every business in New Jersey. It's the same process when you say, where do we start off with? And well, where we start off with is making sure we're spending our money wisely, making sure that we look to find savings wherever we can and however we can. And I think that's where we start off right now. So I understand the governor has to make a budget that's due in June, and this is his first chance. Now we'll take a look at the budget from our perspective. We'll have the benefit of knowing some things that the governor can only project. For example, April 15th is tax day. We don't know yet where the income tax revenue will be for the state. The governor can only project out. He has to do it constitutionally, has to do his budget address earlier. We'll have the advantage of looking at that. So what I'm saying is we need to start off looking for places to save rather than counting on giving
Sorry for
ourselves a
interrupting
raise.
again,
That's
Mr.
okay.
Speaker. Is the millionaire's tax, from your perspective, I hate this expression in Washington, state capitals across the nation, is it dead on arrival?
Well, look, I think that when you look at the kind of things that we have been able to do in achieving savings, then I think that we need to look at that in totality. So there's not going to be an easy way to go off and find additional savings to do it. I think as we go through the process of understanding where the people of New Jersey are at, understanding where we're at departmentally, and seeing what else changes, then I think we'll look at that as we get to June. It's months away, Steve.
I hear you, and we'll continue that conversation. But I want to ask you this. Your office, if I'm not mistaken, you'll correct me if I'm wrong, has put out a statement on the issue of legalization of marijuana. I'm not going to get into the weeds, excuse the expression.
Pun intended.
No, it was not. It was not. It was not.
Okay.
We don't know what's going to happen with it. But for those who are wondering, why consider the prospect, the possibility of putting the question of legalizing marijuana / cannabis as is described in the legislation out to voters? What is the rationale for that, if that were to happen?
To put it out to voters?
To let voters decide.
Well, we're trying to do it legislatively.
You're trying to do that.
Yeah.
If it doesn't happen, could it go the other way?
Well, sure, it could. I mean, I think at some point, if you, I believe that there's reasons to do this. I was last to the party, governor and Senate
Yeah, you were
president
not one of the first ones out there
not.
when Senator Scutari talked about this. You're not like, put me in there.
Yeah.
You did not.
No. But I tried to do for most things, that most bills we have, but to go through what I like to call a thorough and thoughtful process. And so I've looked at this, and then I've gone out to Colorado and talked. I didn't just go talk to the marijuana industry. I met with the sheriff of Arapahoe County. I went to pediatric emergency rooms and talked to the docs there. I went to talk to cops on the street and a business administrator.
And your conclusion?
My conclusion is that this, A, is a real industry, and B, that the benefits of doing the things that I think this bill will accomplish outweigh the detriment. And let me tell you why I think that's good. A, we do an awful lot of social justice in this bill. We make sure that people who are largely, who have been overwhelmingly adversely affected relative to other people.
Sure.
Kids who look like my kids don't get treated better.
A lot of disparity between blacks and whites,
Exactly.
rich and poor.
So there's that. There's the opportunity to create a new industry, and this bill makes sure that regular New Jerseyans have a real chance to get there. The other thing, and I think this is as importantly, is we need to recognize that if we continue to do the same thing, we don't change anything, we're not winning the war. If the goal is to stop people from using marijuana, well, we're not doing it this way. This changes the status
They
quo.
gave me 1 more minute, so I'm going to take full advantage. No, don't be sorry. We're glad to have you. The tax incentive, we are definitely not getting to the weeds on that, but I want to ask you overall. The Economic Development Authority.
Yes.
Tax incentives,
Yes.
whether it's in Newark, where we are, Trenton, Jersey City, wherever, down in Camp, wherever. Overall, a good thing?
Overall, a good thing, yes. And I think everybody agrees with that. I think the governor agrees with that, and the Senate president agrees with that, and I have. And I think we can point to places like Camden, for example, where they've had a very positive effect. Now, what the governor, the audit revealed that there may have been some lack of management, lack of oversight, or mismanagement that was done by the controller, and that may well be. So we changed that because we can't waste a dollar. We ought not do it. And we have to make sure that the things that the legislature put in effect to try and drive, be an economic driver, stays in place. But which programs, in and of itself, if the program didn't fail necessarily, the management may have. Whether that's right or wrong, the governor has advanced several proposals. We'll check them out.
Real quick on this. We're doing a series called Right from the Start NJ, looking at the issues facing infants and toddlers. Is the state doing enough to protect our most vulnerable, youngest kids.
Well, I think we can always do more. We have a package of bills that look at infant mortality, and we're going to get that passed right now. So I think we're going to do a better job.
Mr. Speaker, I want to thank you for joining us.
My pleasure. Thanks for
Do
having
not
me.
let it be the last time.
I promise.
Okay?
All right.
That's the Speaker. I'm Steve Adubato, and we'll be right back right after this.
State of Affairs with Steve Adubato is a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation, celebrating over 30 years of broadcast excellence. State of Affairs with Steve Adubato is brought to you from the Agnes Veris NJTV studio at 2 Gateway. Funding has been provided by the law firm of Gibbons, P.C., the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, Choose New Jersey, the Turrell Fund, supporting Right from the Start NJ, International Union of Operating Engineers, Local 825, Rowan University, Delta Dental of New Jersey, and by these public-spirited organizations, individuals, and associations committed to informing New Jersey citizens about the important issues facing the Garden State, and by Employers Association of New Jersey.